We are recording. Things are happening. Things are happening. That is what is happening. Hey, welcome to the music, apparently. No, welcome to Employer Brand Breakdown. I am your host, James Ellis, where I will be breaking down brands. That is what we do here. Now, someone asked me the question, why do I focus so much on smaller companies? Why don't I talk to or look at and break down the employer brand of, say, Apple? Well, here's a simple answer. Apple is Apple. Apple is the exception to every possible rule. They have more money than God. They have more resources and people, more brand awareness than you and I and any 1,000 people we know combined will ever have access to. It's kind of like asking, what would God do, right? We can't live in that world. You and I do not live in that world. Even if you work for a big brand, chances are you don't have the same kind of resources. On top of which, I'm not even 100% sure that Apple has an employer brand team or function. Just saying. I don't think Google does either. And I hate using them as an example. So that's why we focus on companies that are a little smaller. I'm not saying they all have to be 12 people. I'm saying we're focusing on companies whose constraints are much more obvious, much more constrained, much more focused. They have limited resources, limited headcount, limited support, much like you and I get every single day. And I think that is a much more interesting place to look at for examples of good, hard, solid work, things to steal, as it were. Before we get into this week's subject, which is a local retailer I'm a big fan of, so we'll talk about that in a second. 2 quick commercials. The first is, if you don't subscribe to my newsletter, if you're not getting the I almost said wisdom. Who said wisdom? That wasn't me. I did not say wisdom. The ideas, the thinking, the links, the stuff, the good ideas, the good work in your inbox every single morning. Just go to employerbrandheadlines.com. That's employerbrandheadlines.com. Sign up. It's free. It lands in your inbox every Monday morning. It is employerbrandheadlines.com. There we go. Second, if you're having a day, and this is specifically to employer branders or TA leadership, if you're having a day where you're feeling a little stuck, right? You're feeling a little locked in, you're feeling a little boxed in, you don't know your opportunities, your chances, your things you could do are getting smaller and smaller. Maybe you feel like you painted yourself in a corner. Use whatever metaphor you wish. And you need someone to help you get a little unstuck. Hi, how you doing? I'm here to help. Just go to employerbrandondemand.com. It rhymes. That's marketing. Employerbrandondemand.com. And in 30 seconds, I'm going to help you get unstuck. Simple as that. So go check that out. Sign up if you're interested in that. Just take a look. Employer Brand on Demand. With that, we get into our subject de semana. That's both French and Spanish. So there we go. We're going to talk about Abt. Now, if you're not in the Chicagoland area, you might have no clue what Abt is, which is too bad because you're missing out. Abt is, and it's spelled A-B-T. It's pronounced Abt. And though, you know, as a Chicago resident, I have always said ABT. In my head, but it's Abt. Okay, it's Abt. Anyway, they have been a retailer of electronics and appliances in the Chicagoland area for a very long time. And I can say, as a customer, their customer service is excellent. And they actually pride themselves on it. And we're going to talk about them specifically because theirs is the place where if they've built a company on customer service, their company effectively rises and falls on the quality of their people. Makes sense, right? It's not about how good the trucks are. It's not about the selection of products because a lot of companies can get that. What makes them different, what makes them unusual, what makes them great is their people. Without good people, how are they different from any other company, right? That's how they perceive themselves. So with that, it's time to share screens, you know? That's what we do. We got to look at a screen. So first off, who knows? We'll see. Yes, there it is. That is the right screen. All right. So this is the Abt website. It is a standard-ish. I don't know much. I'm not a retail guy. Okay. Don't ask me to critique a retail website. That is not what I do. But selling appliances and electronics, all sorts of fun stuff, mattresses, game room stuff, sound systems. Now, here's where I think it's worth pausing and looking at what we're doing. And by the way, as a quick aside, remember, we're not here to nitpick. We're not here to quibble. We're not here to say anything snarky or be mean to anybody. This isn't what this is about. This is about looking at what smaller companies are doing that are good, calling it out, stealing those ideas wherever we can, and maybe identify some places where they could elevate a bit, where they could take it to the next step. That's all. So no snark, no meanness, positive intent implied all the way around. Okay, cool. So this is where I think they start to get kind of interesting in that this is Yeah, they sell that stuff. And we live in an e-retail age where you press a button, you throw in your credit card, and boom, you're done. Isn't that the fun of it? Isn't that the value of it? And they say, no, hold on. There are so many things you could buy, whether you're buying a dishwasher or a sound system or a mattress. You are not an expert at these things. And given the number and breadth of products out there, we like to educate you. And this is how a company like Abt is really separating itself from an Amazon or a Best Buy or something like that, where they're really leaning hard into, let's teach you. It doesn't feel like a sales pitch. It feels like an educational opportunity so that I, as the consumer, can make a better informed choice. Informed choice. I'm a big fan. You know that. So we scroll down here. We got more videos. They're making a lot of content about these dishwashers and Dyson air filters and what have you. So if you want to learn more about how they work and what the overview is, that's great. Customer service. It's award winning. Great. 87 years of experience. There's a dog. Who doesn't like a dog? Dogs are cute. And we get down to, and honestly, first time I was here, I was looking for this. I was heading straight for the career link because that's what we do, right? And I missed this, and I want to make sure you don't. Scrolling all the way to the bottom, you got these cute little trucks and clouds following them, and the clouds following them is interesting. But it's a nice little animation, but what's really interesting to me is right here. Buried at the bottom of their corporate site. You don't see this on the career site. Pleasing people since 1936. Now, what's really interesting to me is that in marketing, every once in a while, you get these opportunities to use wordplay such that the words have two meanings. In this case, pleasing people since 1936, the obvious interpretation is we have been pleasing some people since this time, right? It's the natural read of it. Somewhere in your brain, not to get too NLP in here, but somewhere in your brain, the secondary definition, the secondary read of that would be, we are pleasing people. We are pleasing people. We are pleasant people. The people we have please. We're pleasing people. It's the read normally is the verb is pleasing people. That's the focus. Also, you can focus on the people. The noun being the focus of that read, right? It's not obvious. It's not probably something you're conscious of, but it's there. And I think it's a great opportunity because that kind of split, that kind of dichotomy of read is there. You could take advantage of it. And I wish they would because it's kind of cool. Anyway, we move on. So let's go to career site. Click. There we are. So pretty clean career site. There's a building. I'm not a big fan of starting with the buildings, but in smaller companies, you do need to kind of establish in some way a level of credibility and stability, that you're not some fly-by-night, we got started last week, no one's ever heard of us kind of thing. And showing a building is a way of doing it. I think they could do it differently. I would encourage them to look for other ways to kind of show that stability, because if you look at the rest of the page, that information is evident. Right? Let's get into it. So let's go into this headline, which, by the way, thank you for not saying job openings or we're hiring or, hey, career opportunities or whatever garbage headline we have. We have a friendly, easygoing culture. So pause. Friendly. First word. I'm discounting the A. Friendly is the first word. Easygoing culture. Great benefits. Boom, boom, boom. This is how we're different. Crystal clear. In a retail space, saying you're friendly is a differentiator all on its own. As a survivor of retail sales and retail jobs early in my career, being friendly is a huge level up. It's a huge value add. Most companies are just, how do we grind these people down? How do we use them up and throw them out? This is a company focusing on friendly, easygoing culture, great benefits, approachable management, interesting call, and a few reasons why Abt has been one of Chicago Tribune's top workplaces for 10 years in a row. Now, if you know me, and I suspect that you might, you know that I'm not a huge fan of leveraging awards to build credibility. But here they're doing a great job. First off, they don't just say, we won this award. Aren't we cool? They don't just post it and walk away. They start with why they won this award, because they're an friendly, easygoing culture. Great benefits. This is the why, which, by the way, is the point, is what we're trying to do here. Second, it's not some great place to work thing where it's a lot of pay to play. And I don't want to single out great place, but let's be fair. There are a lot of places that are pay to play. And as a candidate, it's hard to know which ones of these are valid and which ones of these are garbage. But this is a Chicago Trib. This is a local newspaper. So it's got some credibility baked in. And not only that, they've won it for 10 years in a row. It shows that continuity, that longevity of it. This isn't, hey, this week we decided we're friendly. This is what we're all about. This is what we've always been about. And that shows credibility. Okay, we go to the video. The video is 4 years old. So just point that out. I went to YouTube and I looked, it was published 4 years ago. So it starts off with this kind of jazzy kind of music, and it's like, wow, this is really exciting. And then we get like a really far off visual of that guy in a big warehouse. I get that they're trying to, let's mute it. You don't need to hear this. I get that they're trying to show that this is a big space, but I don't need to see his toes. This is interestingly framed. I think we could push in, and they do push in down the road to say, hey, this is Jay. He's been working here for 15 years or however long he's been working. And they do a good job kind of showing what it's like to work here. And they talk, all the different roles, and they get into some of the benefits. They got performance, they got bonuses, they've got healthcare, all this good stuff, right? It's good. I think what's interesting is because you can really feel that it's a 4-year-old video, not because it's shot poorly and not because he's wearing bell bottoms or something, but because we've really leaned into video culturally, like across the board. The internet really has learned. TikTok has really rewired our brains, right? You got 60 seconds and it starts with a bang, right? Give me something. And that bang that they started with was the razzle dazzle, and it kind of wandered into some useful stuff. It's 1 minute and 7 seconds. It could definitely be cut in half and get really, really tight. You've got an opportunity to say something more, a little elevated, a little more engaging, not leaning on music and special effects, and more about maybe walking through the space instead of having a static camera, little things like that. So I think there's a way to kind of elevate that video because it is 4 years old. But then we get into the kind of the meat of the matter. This is a layout space. You can see, I'll scroll down so you can kind of see it. This is what they're saying. So it's friendly, close-knit culture. Your voice matters. Pledge to the environment. Growing team. Learn something new. Now, to me, given that they don't talk about the environment anywhere else, this feels kind of like an add-in. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's giving them the boost that they want it to. They can be talking about this on another page. They could build a whole kind of sub-site about environmental pledges and good stuff like that and link to it. That's fine. But from a retail sales point of view, I don't know that it's going to move the dial. I'm not sure that it's getting them where they want to go. And in fact, if I were to look at this site, I would say, based on everything I've seen them talk about, their brand pillars are friendly, close-knit culture, your voice matters, and learn something new. The way they do stuff, the way they have all this training, they have all these kind of, and we'll talk about this in a second, they're really here to make sure their people are experts. That, to me, are the 3 major pillars. Join a growing team isn't a pillar because really it's about stability. It's like, hey, we're continuing to grow. We're a safe bet, right? And the environment doesn't quite fit. So to me, I just kind of reorder stuff. There's nothing inherently bad. I just think this could be a little punchier. Down to benefits. I'm going to skip past competitive earnings because no one knows what that means. No one knows what that says. I get that you feel the need to, you have to say it, but it's not getting you where you want to go. But listing what your medical service, your medical provider is, your vision provider, your 401k provider, your life insurance provider. I love the specificity. I love the concreteness of saying, we don't just offer a world-class medical, which so many companies say, it's this company. And you may like it and you may not, but this is what we offer. And it's so much better than most companies. You kind of accept the offer and then you hope the benefits are good, right? That their insurance carrier is good or they don't switch it over tomorrow, as has happened to me on more than one occasion. I want to point out, Employee Fitness Center. Really? That's a pretty interesting call. Don't bury it. Kick it up. Bring it up. This is interesting. Things like bonus performance reviews you could glue together, discount products. Is that really is that a reason to show up? Is that saying much about what you're doing? I don't know that it is. But things like, hey, we're a retail company. We have a customer service focus. We care about our people being healthy. So much so that we invested in it. That's a strong play. That's a strong play. And honestly, there's no visuals around that up here. There could be space for that stuff to say, this is how we work together. This is how we're growing each other or growing ourselves. Then we get into history. Now, the only thing I would point out here is that they list in employing a staff of more than 1,500 trained experts. Well, that's great. But if I go to LinkedIn, I show that there's only 700 employees. Now, obviously, if you're a entry-level customer service person straight out of whatever school you're out of, you may not have a LinkedIn, and I get that. But to me, this is the place where they can take that core brand idea of customer service and caring about their people and focusing on their people and making sure that these people are pleasing people and they're pleasant people, turning it up a notch right here on LinkedIn. You've got half of your staff are on LinkedIn, and the ratio of followers to employees is really low. For a company with 600, look, I'm a company of one person. I've got 3,000 followers. Okay. That's a weird indication because I'm a loudmouth, but there should be a lot more followers. It's clear that they're not actually leveraging LinkedIn. And I'll even point something out. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, stay connected, there's no LinkedIn button. They don't link to LinkedIn on their corporate site or their career site. So a missed opportunity there. They could definitely kind of throw that in and lean on this, because in a lot of ways, this is the place where people go to learn about the company culture. Okay, one last stopping ground before we close the deal up. Where we go? We're going to posts. And we go to, let's just go here. The photos are great. The people are great. This is a chef showing off a new product to people who work there and to customers. You've got, they're surveying their offices and how they're, this is the only other place where there's an ecological or environmental kind of focus. 76 things you didn't know about Abt? Really, 76 things? That's interesting. The picture is interesting too. But what I love here is this. It's Amy. Hello, Amy. I don't know. You're not watching, but here we are. She's been here at 17 years. And I love companies that say things, hey, bring your whole self to work, be yourself to work, all that stuff. And everybody looks and kind of sounds and acts the kind of same. Hey, one person has 3 earrings. Oh, they're the weirdo, but we want them to bring their full self to work. And then they're the people who like to dress up like Colonel Sanders and and dress their dog up as a chicken. Okay, that is a photo that, first off, she's clearly proud of, and thank goodness for it, because they're putting it on their LinkedIn channel. This isn't saying we accept and are okay with the weirdos. What they're saying is we want everyone to be themselves because that's how they bring the most. And we don't just say it, we show it. This post is such a great post, a great example of really illustrating to push beyond the average or the obvious of, hey, we like our people. Because most of these posts would just be this photo and maybe something, where she's at home or out on a trail with a friend, walking in a forest or something fairly safe. Here she is dressed up as Colonel frickin' Sanders. I mean, bravo. Bravo for her. Bravo to Abt to kind of highlighting that, because just these little touches do so much work to signal what a company is really all about. We've talked about how career sites are so often boiled down to boringness because everybody has an opinion. And there's all sorts of compromises on what you're allowed to put out there. Legal comes in and stomps all over it. HR comes in and kind of polishes the edges off. Nothing is interesting. The cool stuff happens on the social media channels, right? The pulse of the company is on social media far more than it is on the career site. This is the stuff. This is what, we're stuck seeing the other page. Oh, goodness, you are stuck seeing the other page. Sorry. Share this tab instead. How about that? There we go. Thank you, Audra. Audra's texting me from her office saying they can't see what I think you're seeing. This is their LinkedIn page. We're backing up very quickly. I like the chef. The environment is cool. 76 things you didn't know. But here is Amy, and you must see this photo. This is great photo. She dressed her dog up like a chicken. Come on. But this is, I think of this as the wink, the knowing wink of this is how far we'll take it. You don't build your entire career site or your entire brand around the crazy, but you have to show it now and then and make a kind of a sly wink to say, yeah, this is what we're talking about, wink, right? This is as far as we'll take it, wink. It's not the basis for your entire brand, but it's a great, important indication of where your weirdness is, how far you'll let things go. Super powerful stuff. And too often our social media channels are kind of boiled down to, and they are a little too safe. And we're not we're not being given the chance to have those winks. And I think if you can find those opportunities, you should absolutely take advantage of it. Here's Labor Day. Here's people working. Good, strong stuff. Exactly what you expect. Historical messaging. The Maytag washer repairman. Who's old enough to remember that? There's a history here, right? This is a great brand. The volume could be turned up on quite a bit more. It's not that they need to reinvent themselves. The core of what they are makes perfect sense. It's not about a new patina. It's not about a new coat of paint. It's simply about saying, how do you find ways to make the core of what Abt's all about more clear and more engaging? right? It's tweaks to the video, reshooting the video. It's bringing in more of the crazy people dressing up like Colonel Sanders and the dog's like a chicken. It's more of the, this is what we're willing to do. Oh, there was a, oh, I think it was on their video. I'm going to go back to, yeah, the career page. In the video, they had a, there it is. Boom. They have a sign, stop. They have a sign that says the answer is always yes to any reasonable request. Things like this are such great signals as to what you really care about. You don't have to build the entire page around the idea, but they have to include that to give that wink of this is how far we'll take it. This is the kind of company we are. Having survived retail and having survived sales, I know that most, or customer service really, I know most of those customers who hire, or companies who hired me as customer service, they were like, get them off the phone as fast as possible. You're expensive. We don't want to spend any more time dealing with this as possible. Their customer service is very engaging. It's very much, how can we help you? How can we provide value? And those companies are few and far between. And I think highlighting that reinforces the brand, the employer brand they're trying to show off. So to me, the raw materials are here. It just needs kind of a reshuffle a little bit to really make it crystal clear. And like I said, go find that people pleasing thing. That's great. Bring it up. Really, sell it a bit more. So there we go. That's your employer brand breakdown for the week. Thanks so much for listening. I'm James Ellis. As a reminder, employerbrandheadlines.com. Go sign up. It's free. Or go to employerbrandondemand.com and get unstuck in 30 minutes. All right. Thanks so much for listening. If you have an idea for the next brand I take a look at, just email me or ping me on LinkedIn, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye.